Hey guys, welcome back. I'm gonna do a little bit of a different project. I'm gonna start on it. I'm gonna be building the speaker box for somebody, and they had given me this printout of all these pieces of paper, sheets, telling me what to do and cut. So I have a cut sheet here. I'm making it out of 3/4 inch birch plywood. So this is my sheet with what sizes I need and the quantities of each piece. So what I'm gonna do is cut all this stuff off camera, because it can be kind of boring to watch me just sit there and cut a bunch of wood on the table saw. But anyways, I'm going to cut all that off camera, and then I'll video me assembling it all. So basically what they have here is a cut sheet. This is 2 of 2. I must have another one here somewhere, I think. But anyways, it's showing you on the sheet of plywood how they want you to utilize your sheet of plywood to save the most amount of material. So this is obviously a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood, and it shows you what panels they want you to cut where. Access panel number 1, port wall, and then if you come over here, this is pretty well thought out. It says port wall, and it gives you the measurements and stuff like that. So you can pretty much take your sheet of plywood, lay it all out, and get it all cut. So that's what I'm going to work on now, and then I'll come back and we will do a video on assembling it all. So I will see you guys later. Okay, these are all the parts I need for the speaker box. I still have to cut holes for the speakers and cut a hole in one of these pieces for the top access hole so that you can get into the speaker box to put the speakers into the cabinet. So that's all I'm doing for tonight. I'll continue this video tomorrow. I'll get the speaker holes and stuff cut out, and then we can get this thing glued and stapled together. I'm going to staple it because I guess he's going to stain the box rather than carpet it or paint it. So we're going to use staples to put it together so that I can use some wood filler to fill the staple heads in so that when you stain it, you don't see it. This stuff is natural color, and it says it is sandable and stainable. So that's what we're going to use to fill in the staples. And we're just going to use the stuff I always use, Type Bond number 2, premium wood glue to glue it all together. And then we're going to round the edges slightly with a router, the outer edges of the box, so that they're not tight square corners, so that they won't chip and stuff. So all right, I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, I'm back, and I am ready to start assembling this cabinet. The assembly instructions, I have 2 different pieces of paper I'm going to work off of here. This tells me what size pieces go where, and this is just kind of an exploded view of where everything goes if I need to look at that one. I have not cut the speaker holes yet. I got to do that still. But first, what I need to do is, this is the bottom. I'm putting all the good side of the plywood facing outwards. Even the bottom, I'm putting the good side facing outwards. So this is the crappier side, which is inside the cabinet. I'm going to sand it all down and fill in all the staples and everything else. So, so basically what it looks like is there's a double layer on this wall of 3/4 inch, and they're the 30-inch long ones. So we have 2 of these that go right here on the end. So I need to glue and staple these together. I'm using 1¼ staples, which will be more than long enough because I am going to glue them. So by gluing it, the glue is what's essentially going to hold it in the end. The staples are going to kind of hold it until the glue sets up. So these 2 need to be attached to each other, but trying to think how I want to do it. I think I'm going to grab a scrap piece of wood and keep my first piece back 3/4 inch. I was going to sandwich these 2 together now and then put the back piece on, but then I won't be able to staple through the edge. I'll show you what I mean once I get to it here. So what I'm going to do is grab a scrap piece of wood here that we can use as a guide. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a clamp or 2. We'll clamp that on there, and then that'll keep my distance 3/4 inch away from the edge. And I'm gonna sand everything when it's done and round the edges and everything like that, just to make it nice and smooth and ready to be stained. Okay, that should work. So now what I can do is, this is gonna be my first piece. We're gonna go ahead and put some glue on this edge. Lean it right against that other piece. And then we can get a staple through the bottom. Putting a couple staples right now just to hold it. Now I need to put the back piece on, which is, what piece is that? Doesn't tell me what size that one is. $37. Wait, that's the total distance is 37. Don't know if this is the right one or not. I think that's it. Looks like it. So this one goes back here. Now we can glue and staple this one. Let me back the camera up a little bit. I might put some trim screws in here too, just to strengthen it up a hair more. Because those have a small head, and we can putty the heads on those. Okay. So now we have another 30-inch long one on this side. Use this one here. So this one goes here. And we're a hair long on this piece of plywood here, but that's okay. We'll take care of that. Trim it back a little bit. Probably use my planer to fix that. Yeah, just cut it a little bit too long. Okay, since it's a hair long, I have to look down this line and keep it straight all the way. Okay. Okay, I'm just wiping the glue up. All right, so now we can put the other end on the other side here. So we can unclamp that straight edge I have on here. And this one we're going to glue up really good. Big box. Okay. And these are only 1 1/4 staples, so I know that they're not going to go all the way through. I'm actually going to use my brad gun for some of these. Let me go grab that. These are 1 1/2 nails, so I'm going a little bit of an angle so that they don't go through the backside. I had one slightly go through the backside, which I'll have to fix that. I have to cut it off, but that's not a big deal. All right, so that's on. So basically now we have all our 3 sides on and the bottom. Okay, now we can put on this front piece here. I wish it would give me a measurement on what size it is. 29.5 minus 1 1/2, 28 inch. I'm pretty sure. Let's see which one's the 28 inch over here. 28.5. Oh, it's right here, I think. Yep. So this one goes here. That's our port right here. As you can see, once it's all cut, it goes together pretty quickly. think I'm gonna use this brad gun because it's got 1.5 inches, and I'll just put some trim screws in there. A little bit better than the staples, I think. All right, that's done. So now it's time to figure out, we can put our corner cleats in, and then it's time to figure out, we gotta cut the holes for the speakers. So we have these corner cleats here that I cut. So these are just a double 45, and they have to go in the corners. And what that does is just reinforces the box. So we're gonna put one here, there, here. So for now, we're just gonna put 3 on, because the other ones go behind the speaker and stuff like that, behind the speaker boards. We're gonna glue these as well. And if we have any height discrepancies between the 2 sheets, which I have a tiny bit right there, we're going to use the electric planer and go over all that before the lid gets put on, so that everything is the same height, so that when I glue the lid on, it seals nice and tight. Okay, one more over there. Let me get the other one put on. Okay, I set the box on the ground so I can trim this one edge down right here that I cut too long. I'm going to use my cordless planer right here. I'm just going to keep going over it until it gets flush with the side. Now, I'm not going to go until the planer touches the side because I don't want to ruin the plywood. We'll keep it a hair high and then we'll sand it down. Close right there. Okay, I don't want to go any more than that because I don't want to damage the surface, the face of that other board. So let me go grab a sander. Okay, that's good for now. At least I got that edge cut down. All right, let me figure out what I gotta cut these, size these holes need to be cut. Okay, I should have my router set up to where it needs to be. The holes need to be 11 3/8. And so basically I made this a while ago, but I just made a new one because the other one was a little messed up. And I had it made for a different style router. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a shot and see if it is in the right spot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a screw and put it right on this plus sign to hold this in place. Now you could do this with a jigsaw too, but I just figure the router would be nice because if this is set right, we'll be able to do all 4 holes really quickly, and they'll be all exactly the same. So I'm just going to do a little pass first to make sure that we're right here. I want to take a measurement between those two. Make sure that the outside to outside is 11 3/8, and it's wrong. So I did something wrong here. Oh, I drilled my hole in the wrong spot. I need to be at 5 7/8, and I drilled it at 4 7/8. Not a big deal. So what we need to do is I just need to, not 5 7/8, 5 11/16. So what I need to do is just drill another hole in this metal plate over from the center, from the outside of this bit over to 5 11/16. So let me go do that real quick. Okay, let's try this again. See if we're in the right spot now. Oops. Yep, we should be good. We're within a 1/16 of an inch. So now we can take our router here and start routering the hole out. our measurement. A little bit goofed up right there, but I'll fix it. It's not gonna get seen anyways. Yep, we're at 11 and 7/16. And we needed to be at 11 and 3/8. So that gives us 1/8 of an inch of movement, so that if for some reason the speaker is a hair bigger, I know it's not going to be smaller, but if it's for some reason, if it's a hair bigger, at least then you have a little bit of room to mount that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the other 3 holes now. Okay, both plates are cut. So next I need to glue these 2 together and nail them, and then they're ready to go in the box. And then we got to put the dividers in, which are those right there. So those dividers will go here in the center, and then those 2 plates will go there. And then then I think we just have a few more pieces to put in. We got a piece here that's got to come back, and it stops about here. And then there's some more angle brackets that need to go in. And then we put the top on. We got to cut the top out. It's a double top. The first layer gets a hole cut out of it. They both get a hole cut out of it, but different size holes between each layer. So that's going to be next on the list here. Okay, let's work on getting the cross piece in, and then the 2 speaker boards for the speakers to mount. I need to find center. I'm just going to go from outside to outside. And we'll find center here. $30 inches, so 15 inches is our center. And we're gonna nail these 2 boards together first. And then when we hold it up there, our center will be between the 2 pieces of wood. We'll know that that's the center part. And then I'm gonna measure, actually, I'm gonna go 3/4 over on each side. So it's 15, I'm gonna go 14 1/4, and then 15 3/4. And I'll do the same thing at the bottom. Well, it's gonna be a little bit harder, but I can get it. 14 1/4, 15 3/4. Then I'll know that the piece is running straight and it's not kicked out at the bottom or anything like that. So I need to glue those 2 together and put some nails in them. And use the staples on this one. You know, I'm going to staple both sides just to make sure that this is really solid. Ran out of staples. I measured it wrong. See? I gotta take 3/4 of an inch off of that because it's from the inside, not the outside of the box. I almost nailed it on crooked. I'm gonna put more glue on this. I'll wipe off the excess afterwards. Oh, now I need nails. Go grab those. Okay, that's in. Now I'm going to put on these two corner pieces to brace the inside corners, just like we did with the other ones. Okay, I'm going to get those other boards now. Okay, this is the first one. Now I got to measure from the outside to the center, 9 inches exactly. So we know our board goes on the outside of that mark. Get this all glued up. I'll have to draw a line underneath it. So I can nail the bottom on. Let me grab a couple paper towels to wipe the excess glue off. Okay, now we have some more braces to put in. I think it was just 2. Yes. Let me look here. Yes, 2 outsides. And they go here and here. Get those in now. Don't know if I'm gonna be able to get the nail gun all the way down there. Might have to use a couple screws. Fits. Just maybe. Now we can put on the second plate for the speaker. Glue this on as well. I'm just going to glue the face on this one. I can glue the bottom too. Okay, I still have to nail underneath afterwards. Now we need to put this piece in here for the port. Let me go look at the directions for a minute. Actually, I'll just grab them. All right. So we need this piece here, and looks like I'm gonna have to get the table saw out and cut a couple more angles on this one and that one, which is fine. So this piece goes on the outside edge here, and it goes back and it has an angle cut on it. I don't know if it's this one or not. Nope. It's this one right here. So this goes like this. So I need to cut an angle on this direction. My guess is they put all these angle blocks in and everything everywhere. A, to for strength. B, to probably keep the sound waves moving rather than running into a dead corner. So let me go cut this and I'll be back. Okay, so now I have to figure out what my measurement is from here to here. 6 inches exactly. So I'll mark 6 inches back here. So once again, my board's going straight. And I went ahead and cut this one on a 45. And then I cut these blocks on a 45. I still have to cut this block on a 45. What I'm using to cut everything is this 60 volt cordless DeWalt table saw. Now, this has a 9 amp hour battery on it, and I've cut every piece of wood for this cabinet on one battery, one charge, and I'm still on the same battery. So if anybody is interested in buying one of those things, I would definitely recommend it. You can get a lot done on one battery charge. So if you have 2 batteries for that table saw, you can work all day long by using one and then switching over to the second one if you need to. I'm gonna end up using almost a whole bottle of glue on this thing. Rather have more glue than not enough, I'll tell you that much. All right. Okay, I'm gonna nail the bottom of this off camera real quick. Okay, now this double 45 piece goes right here. Once again, I believe everything's 45 just to let the air movement not hit any solid corners. So this is going to go right here. Nail that on. Nail that didn't go in all the way. All right. Got this one to put on in here. And it goes this way, straight down. Now remember, the glue is what's really going to hold this thing when it's all dry. Because I'm shooting those nails at an angle, the heads don't all the way set all the way. Okay, now I gotta cut this one. I'll show you here real quick. I don't have my glasses on, but that's all right. Should be all right for just one cut. Stand off to the side here. That battery still has 2 bars. I mean, I could tell it's slowing down a little bit, but not bad. So now this can go into the corner here. Then we just need to do the top. Sand it all down, and it is done. That's all I'm doing to it. The guy that I'm doing it for will finish it all up. Okay. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit of sandpaper and hit all this stuff inside the box, all the edges and stuff, make sure there's no splinters or anything like that. And then we gotta cut the 2 top pieces, and then we are done with this one. Okay, now off camera, I'm just gonna go around with my DA sander and my 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna make sure that all these are the same level, which they feel extremely close. So I'm just gonna go over them real quickly. Just to make sure that they're all level and smooth. So I'll be back in a few more minutes. Okay, it's all sanded, blown out. Now I want to put some silicone around these edges here. I want to verify that this part is sealed, this front. This is all sealed because it has this block plus the wood behind it. But I want to make sure, even though there is a block here, I'm just going to be a little bit on the safe side and put a little bit of clear silicone into those corners, just to make sure it's sealed up really good. Okay, I can smooth it out with my finger. And that's going to give it a nice, smooth, sealed finish. Okay, now I have to cut the holes for the top pieces now. Cut the holes in the top pieces. Okay, this is the first of the 2 square holes I have to cut. It's a double layer lid, and I'll show you. So this is the first hole I have to cut, and I marked it. It's the inside cut here. And I'm going to use a circular saw and just try to cut it as straight as possible. Take my multi-tool and finish up the corners with this rather than a jigsaw. Okay, you want it to be a pretty tight fit. That might be a little bit too tight. So, just need to clean up this one edge here a little bit. First, I gotta clean up this corner. Perfect. So this can get mounted onto the box now. So let's see how it fits. Once again, it's a hair long, but that's okay. We'll use the planer afterwards. I'd rather it be a hair long than a hair short, because it's easy to take off. Can't really put back on. So, okay, let's get this glued and nailed on. Everywhere on all the braces, all the way down all the links. Get a really good bead of glue, because in the end this is going to kind of seal it all up, the top here. It's been a long time since I've built a speaker box for somebody. I used to do these when I was young all the time. Now when you get old like me, you don't even listen to music. A nice quiet car ride. Okay, now I gotta try to gently set this up there. Oops. Flip it around here. Like I said, I'm okay with it overhanging a little bit. That's nothing. I know why it happened. My rip fence on my table saw, I can't cut a 37-inch wide piece, so I was actually measuring from the other side over on a cut sheet and running the scrap piece along the fence, so that's why I'm off a little bit. But not a big deal, like I said. What did I do, jam it up? Oh, I ran out of stapled nails already. All right, go grab more nails. I'm gonna finish nailing this top on, and then we're gonna cut the next piece. All right, got more nails in it. So, if you guys can see, I'm using Bauer tools here. My van is full of all DeWalt tools, okay? I have all Bauer tools in my shop from Harbor Freight. And as you guys can see, they work. There's nothing wrong with them. Anybody who says that there is, I don't really understand why, because you guys can clearly see me using them with no issues. Using the nail guns, using the saws, using the planer. I have all this stuff in the van, all DeWalt. Yes, the DeWalt nailer is a hair more powerful than this one, but this is setting all the nails. It's setting all the nails just fine. You know, you could probably nail a little quicker with the DeWalt one, but I have these tools for my shop because I don't want to drag everything out of the van every time I want to work on something in my shop. You know, to have to drag them out and put them back in there. Everything's in my shop. I even have a table saw. It's a skill table saw in the back room. The only reason why I didn't use a skill table saw in this job is this 59's in the way. I didn't feel like pulling it out to get the table saw out and up here, so I just grabbed the table saw out of the van for that. But for the most part though, everything I have in here for battery operated tools is Bauer and some couple skill tools. And that new addition I'm putting on back there, I actually have all Hercules tools for back there. I'm just doing it just to try this stuff out, and I don't want to be running from the front shop to the back shop to get tools all day. So I'm gonna have a tool setup back there and a tool setup up here. When I post this video, it's gonna be, I'm gonna list it as building and a speaker box using Bauer tools from Harbor Freight, just so that if anybody looks this up and wants to see how these things perform, this should be a pretty good test on how it works. What I'm doing here with these clamps is, this is bowed out a hair, a tiny bit, maybe like a 1/16. So I want to see if I can take 2 clamps here without having to go run and grab longer clamps. See if I can't slide that over, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm gonna have to go grab a longer clamp. I was hoping that was long enough so I can grab the side of that, but I can't. Let me go grab a longer clamp, and I'll show you what I'm talking about on the other side here. Right here, this is all good, all good, all good, all good. Right here, just a tiny bit's hanging out from here to here. So I want to take a clamp and go from the edge of that to here and drive that in and then nail it at the top. So let me go grab a 4-foot clamp. All right, hopefully I get this to work. Oh man, there's no handle on this one. Yeah, probably gotta have a screwdriver. There's a little handle that goes in the end of this. Must have fallen off. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab a block of wood too. Of course, I don't have a screwdriver out here. Why would I? I might not need it. Went right in. So now we're flush. Now I'm happy with that. Okay, now we don't have to sand all that off. Plus, if you sand a lot on this plywood, you get into the veneer, the next layer down, and it just doesn't look that good. So I try not to do that as much as possible. Got one more area to staple down or nail down, and that is where this partition is, and that is, right now it's 7 7/8 over. Just draw a line with the pencil. Beautiful. Okay, first row is done. Now, I'm not saying that the Bauer tools are the greatest tools on earth or anything like that either. Obviously, your DeWalt and your Milwaukee will probably last longer, but you never know, you know. How many tool plants is there in the world? You know, how many people are actually making the motors that go into these, you know, and the battery technology and stuff like that? I mean, how many really different ones are there? Are they like is DeWalt Milwaukee using the same battery concept that's in the side of that case and it's just a different case on top? Who knows? I would think so. I mean, like I said, I don't think there's that many manufacturers out there that are making them. Okay, so now this is the piece we need for later. So now we gotta get this other piece up here. Need to measure this one. I think, yeah, we need to measure this one. So we need to find center, which is 18.5 should be. I don't really need to find center, but it's probably best that I do. Now, if I remember, 18 inches should be 9.5 over, maybe? 9.5 over from each side. Yep, 18 inches. Okay. Now I'm going to cut this one off camera because you've seen me do this. Now, this one's 28 as well. This one's 26. Okay, so it's 2 inches longer, 1 inch on each side. Okay, I'm gonna cut this square out and then I'll come back, we'll apply it to the cabinet, and then we gotta do the door. Okay, second piece is cut out. Gotta glue it down. I'm using the top lid as a guide as to where I want this to fit. Okay, that's all in. So now I gotta get this piece out. We have to get the bottom piece in first and then this piece on top. Figure out how I want to hold that in. I guess I could put a couple cleats in there temporarily to hold it in place. So let me see what I have wood-wise to do that. Just going to temporarily put this in from underneath. Stupid bees. And this will hold that lower lid in place. So that I can get the two lids nailed and glued and nailed together. Should hold it good enough. Now I have to remember that I need to stay in with my nail gun. And I have to shoot in on an angle because the nails are longer than the wood once it sets. That should be good for right now. Now I gotta try to get it back out. It's gonna be a little bit harder now that there's a double layer of wood. It's gonna be heavy. There we go. Okay, now I can finish nailing this lid on. Do it from underneath so I don't have a bunch of holes to fill. Get that brace out of there. Can't see the screw. Wonder if it's backwards. Okay, now I need to put screws along the perimeter here. And I'm going to evenly space them. So I'm going to take my tape measure and go about every 6 inches and put a screw. And then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, all the holes are drilled and they're evenly spaced. So now I can tighten the top down. And then I gotta get it all sanded down. And then I'll come back and we'll router the edges, and then I'm pretty much done with this thing. I gotta fill in the screw hole or the nail holes, stuff like that. Now these screw holes have to be visible because you need to take this lid off in order to put your speakers in. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this all sanded down and stuff, and then I'll be back. Okay, I got all the edges done. Now I'm gonna use this router, and I have a round over bit set up in here, and we're gonna round all the outer edges of this box. I probably won't do it all on camera, but I'll show you what it does, what it looks like. You can see it gives it this nice rounded edge here, and that'll keep it from chipping up and stuff in the future. Hopefully you can see it here. Kind of hard to see in the light, but I'll come back after I get it all routed, sanded down, all the nail holes and everything filled. All right guys, I am just doing a little bit more filling in on a couple little nicks and scratches, and then that is it. This thing is ready to go to the owner, but it's all done. Looks good. This is the top. The access door goes on the bottom. So that's going to end this video, guys. Just something different. Figured I'd show you guys how I assemble a speaker box. So if you guys like seeing this kind of stuff, let me know. Please like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Other than that, I'll see you guys later.